Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Dr. Andrea, happy Friday. How are you today? Dr. Andrea may be frozen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in our guests. We have Sophie and Lauren. Ladies, welcome to Business Prowess. How are you this afternoon? This beautiful, actually, Friday morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Doing well, thank you. Excited to be here today.
Great. Dr. Andrea, you're not frozen anymore. That's congratulations on that.
I'm in this, I'm having the podcast live from Martha Razzo's event, the Accelerator Business Summit. And I was on this lovely club. It's called the Matrix Club, a lovely, lovely place to have an event, but they do not have the best Wi-Fi. So I switched to my Wi-Fi and we're okay now. So I was like,
Okay.
So the things of traveling.
Yeah, and you are doing so many different events, and I was commenting on that because you are not just going to these events, but you're supporting people, and that's a beautiful thing. Tell us why, before we start this whole thing, why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, yesterday I spoke here sharing a piece of that is I was showing people how to build a $1 billion Rolodex. And it's because I want the impact for people to understand that your Rolodex is not just about collecting numbers of people. It's about connecting with the people that you're meeting so that you're building deep, lasting relationships. And it's through those relationships that you'll find your friends, your supporters, your investors, your fans, your followers, maybe family, maybe a new partner, maybe now if you're married, I'm not saying go look for one. I'm just saying that happens sometimes. But then also within, the idea that it's more than money. Yes, you might get clients and fans and followers, but our wealth in our life is more than money. It's an impact of who we have around us and making that circle greater and bigger. And that's why I'm doing all of this. So at the Red Carpet Connection, we really care about helping elite entrepreneurs build their legacy so that they can live in their legacy now and be surrounded by people that are amazing and have the money to live the life that they always wanted instead of trying to have a wonderful life so that after you're dead, we remember you.
That's it. Legacy, right?
Yeah.
Ladies, so today's topic is basically unlocking the power of business, if you will. And Dr. Andrea, you just opened it up exactly the way we should do it, by connecting. And I think that really great businesses with the connections you make along the way. Right? Ladies, I'd love to get your take on that.
I'll jump in. Dr. Andrea, it's so nice to meet you. I'm so excited to be on the show. Everything that you were just speaking to, I mean, as entrepreneurs, we hear it all the time. We have a choice, right? We're in this line of work for so much impact and we love what we do. I work with so many passionate business owners and entrepreneurs. And sometimes we can, we have a choice that we can either feel like we're on an island, right, on our own, plugging away, or we can make that really bold decision and say, community is really important to me. And I know for myself, I was really looking for that, about a year ago. And I love in-person networking, conferences, events. But about a year ago, I wanted to create my own community. So I built out a Facebook group and I built it. It's almost, I think it's right around the year mark. And it went from, 0 to 27 100 community members. And something that I say all the time is, I think I say it every day in that space, community really is everything. Highlighting, showcasing different people, what they do, building those partnerships. And it's so beautiful to really see.
Beautiful. Sophie, love to get your thoughts on that as well.
I am 100% in Dr. Andrea's court as well. As a digital marketer, it's not just about being on social media, being on a blog, putting out content, doing videos, doing lives. It's about being authentic and real and genuine and making that connection, letting people get to know who you are, not just what you do and what services you provide and that kind of a thing. It's a connection. It's about knowing who you are, telling your story and speaking to your ideal clients from being a human being, connecting with other human beings, not just being whatever you are in your expertise, just spewing out all your expertise and how you can help people and what you sell and all of those things, because people ultimately want to work with people they know, like, and trust. And the only way to build that know, like, and trust factor is to be real, to be you, and to make connection and to engage and to talk to people, not just talk at people. When you're doing your marketing for whatever you do, that human connection and that genuine, authentic marketing style and voice that is you, which includes your story, your background, the things you like and don't like. It's not just about the business and the selling. And so making those connections, building those relationships, and engaging on a really human level is absolutely so important.
I totally love it. Love it. When we consider the connections that we make, sometimes they're very local, sometimes they're worldwide or national, if you will. I was just talking to somebody in Spain today, and 3 people in Germany yesterday, different parts of Germany. But it is that connection. It is that, how can I put it to you this way? That commonality that we can all have with one another. How can we serve, I think is really the top part of our performance, when we show up without asking for a handout and more of how can I help? I think that also speaks volumes to the type of people that you want to associate yourself with. A lot of times people are, listen, we're in a world where everybody puts on a facade to come on and say, this is who I am. But really, then they take all that stuff off and then that's somebody else. So who are we when we show up? And Dr. Andrea, we've spent some time together, and my gosh, not only is she a beautiful person, but the in-depth that she comes in when she looks at someone, she values them, right? So for me, it's always about connecting with people who have more value on the inside than the outside. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Andrea?
Wow, that's beautiful. You know, the idea, I know there's times in our life, like we might meet someone or think somebody doesn't have what like we might look at them and think, oh, they don't have the money to do this, or they don't have the ambition to do this, or the intelligence to do this. And first of all, what I have learned is by working with like billionaires and multimillionaires, often some of the people that I know that have the most money don't want anybody to know they have any money. So I actually laughed at my one billionaire. I thought he looked like a homeless person. And he did that on purpose so that people would like him for him instead of his money. And we have this assumption that we make based on our ideas and our beliefs. And when we let go of that, and the amazing people who shine and do amazing things, who, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many teeth you have. It doesn't matter, whether you color your hair or if you wear name brands or not. These people might have something of great value to offer you. If anything, just a kind word in exchange. But then they also might know somebody or have access to resources. And just because they don't use them doesn't mean that they wouldn't be interested in connecting you to them. So it's just the more you know, the more you realize you don't know in the world.
Absolutely. The more you learn, the less you know. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I have a client who's also a billionaire, and he and I was just telling somebody the other day, actually on one of my shows, he has a minivan and he has a regular SUV. But in order for him to go and connect with people in the billionaire world, he has a Bentley. And I said, well, how? He didn't have it when we were talking. He goes, I got to go buy a Bentley. I said, why? He goes, because I got to go meet these people, and they probably won't talk to me if I show up in my little, my little car. And I'm like, well, why are you doing that? He goes, well, because I need to meet them where they are. Because if they don't understand that if I show up in my minivan, right, they're not going to accept me. So sometimes some people will do certain things just to meet people where they are. And I think that's also an important aspect of setting up a standard of how do we show up and where do we show up? Thoughts on that, ladies?
I love that, because I have been in and out of that space of putting on a facade to be what I think I need to be, or who I think I need to be in business, to be networking, connecting, or whatever. And, my own personal lessons have taught me that it's better to show up as who you are authentically and genuinely, because the people that are meant to be in your world, whether they're clients, friends, colleagues, whatever, will show up too. And they won't be showing up and judging you for who you are and what you look like and things like that. I've been through different, self-development books and programs and coaches and consultants. And the ones that let me be me and understand me and who I am and what I do have helped me become way more successful and way more connected to amazing people that love me and I love back than, the cookie cutter, this is how you have to look, act, be to do this, that, and the other. It never really worked for me. And the more I open myself up as to who I am, I have my magical Harry Potter office here. I am a Harry Potter nerd. I am proud of being a Harry Potter nerd. My whole office is decorated as such. And so, that's part of how I show up. I don't use green screens and backgrounds. I am who I am. And I talk about being an 80s pop Stevie Nicks witchy woman and all the other things along with my expertise. It all goes together and makes me who I am, which attracts the people that are a best fit for me in my life and in my business. So 100% about taking off the masks, being real, and not going through comparison syndrome, because that is one thing that I have found that I fall into that trap on occasion. And it's like, well, I'm not like so-and-so because I don't do this, or I don't have this much money, and I have to actually catch myself and go, wait, I'm comparing myself. And that's not how I want to be. I got to be me and want what I want and be who I am. That's where I've got to be, and not worry about what other people are and, what they have, because that's them and this is me. And I need to be focused on me and who I am, not who other people are.
I love it. I love it. Being authentic, I think it's one of the most important things that we have to do, because when we wake up in the morning, who are we?
Yeah, that really resonated, Sophie. Everything you were saying, I was shaking my head. I even think, when people say being authentic, when you were speaking before about having your authenticity really shine through in terms of your marketing and your branding. I know I work with a lot of people, and we've heard be authentic, right? And that's where we really get to as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. It is a one-way ticket to personal development, right? I'm sure everyone in this space has dug deep into themselves. As a therapist of many years, I will say, like, this is the shadow work. This is the work of our quote unquote protector parts that want to keep that facade on, right? Where on a daily basis, we get to say, again, like Sifu, you were saying, Who am I? What do I really believe in? What are my values? What do I love to do? What am I passionate about? What do I bring to the table? And how can I continue, right, to be that person, whether it's witchies, 80, Harry Potter, a dog lover, along with the expertise. But I find a lot of the most successful entrepreneurs that I know I surround myself with, that I work with, they really have dug into themselves, and the deeper work.
Absolutely. Dr. Andrea, when you, we talk about branding, you're known for the outfit you wear, and it's different, but it's all based on the same theme. Tell us about that. Whoop, you're muted. You're muted. Unmute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just so you know, if you say it once, I'll know. It just takes a minute for my finger to get there
Oh.
for future reference. So I'm doing it live from here, and once in a while, people come in the room because they can't read the sign that says "live." Don't open the door. so that's why I keep it mute, so I can go. And then, just so you guys know, when you see me smile or you see me do this, I'm talking to the people in the room. So I go, and the door is shut for a reason. Yeah, so anyhow, that's often what's happening. So little things you get to learn about how to do things. I've learned how to become a ventriloquist really well. So you say, hello, can you shut the door? Anyhow, I digress. So when I came in this morning, I had talked on stage about how I wear my signature dress, and so my signature dress is a solid red dress. However, red isn't always in season. And so, as you know, I've been doing this since 2010. I wear the color red every day of my life, and not always do the color red fit in the color palette of the season. So I might need to get new clothes once in a while. And so at first it was difficult for me. And then I allowed myself to go in various shades of red. So I guess I have 50 shades of red. And then recently, this last year, I made a decision I could do some patterns. So I do have some red and dark red and red with a little, that I'll allow a little bit of like a yellow or pink, but it has to be muted. So it's mostly red. And then today I have on my favorite dress, which is red with white, but it is still always red. And even if I'm not wearing a red dress, and now I always wear a red dress when I speak. And then I recently adopted wearing pants for the first time 2 years ago. I only wore dresses. I didn't even own pants. And I got cold during COVID and decided that I could wear black leggings and red tops. So there you go. But and that's because I'm the red connection. My branding is I live my brand. I am always the red carpet connection. So, sometimes people don't realize that. And I think that comes from working in law enforcement. When I worked in law enforcement, it didn't matter if I was off duty, I still was representing the Findlay Police Department or the Hancock County Sheriff's Department because I was a corrections officer there before that. You are always reflecting that. And so you might as well live it. So I am always reflecting the red carpet connection. So I might as well red and own that. And it reminds me that this is how I've decided to show up in the world. And that way I am accepted as who I am and what I do, because the red carpet connection is about relevance, enthusiasm, and delivery. And so I'm known as the Lady in Red, and everybody sings that song to me.
Love it. So Lauren, when we consider connections, you created from 0 to 27,000, 2,700 people on Facebook. What was the catalyst for you to do so?
Oh, that's such a great question. One of the big catalysts was, again, I was personally craving community. I also was speaking with a lot of prospective clients, as well as had a lot of clients who I work very much with, females, with women. And a lot of people said, I want to be able to share. I want to be able to share my story. I want to be able to share what I do. I want to be able to share when there's challenges. I want to be able to share that, something I'm proud of, something I want to celebrate. And I primarily market, through various social media platforms. And I think, again, there are these channels where you feel lonely. So for me, I said starting a Facebook group is such a beautiful answer. Really started with the intent. The group is called Empowered Wholeness, right? So really taking women who go-getters and ambitious females and saying, this is your home, this is your space. You can come here, come as you are, be as you are, share. And it grew really quickly just because, of those reasons that I truly believe that people are craving more and more community and that connection.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Speaking of that, Sifu, I put up
Yes.
your speaking prowess masterclass. So talk about how, you are building your community too, because you've had people say that they want to hear more of you. And so you have this class coming up.
Yeah, one of the things that for me, it's always about how we connect, the language we use, the physicality even, right? When we can connect with another human being, is it just because it's the moment, it's because what everybody else is doing, or is it because it's deeper than that? So for me, it's also about faith. And to me, it doesn't matter your faith. I just need you to believe in something, right? So believe in yourself, if nothing else. I love what Sophie talked about, that her office is Harry Potter crazy in a way, but it's not crazy because it's how it makes her feel. So for us to connect, I love, Sophie, that you're comfortable with that. And that right there speaks about who you are. So for me, it's about
And
connecting
may
in
I
that regard.
extend my condolences? I'm going to interrupt a second. I want to
Go
give her
for it.
condolences because I'm sure she's very upset about Maggie Smith dying.
Oh, absolutely. It broke my heart. She's one of my favorites in the show. And we've lost so many of the older actors from the movies. And every time they pass, it breaks my heart a little bit more. And so every time I rewatch the movies, I now watch with both the joy of the movies and the inner child fun that it gives me, but it also the sadness of seeing each actor who's no longer with us. It touches my heart in that respect too. So now there's mixed emotions when I watch Harry Potter, but I will never stop watching Harry Potter because they pass away and they're gone from this world, because I know their legacy and their legend lives on through these movies, and that honors them to be able to still watch them and support that whole franchise without being concerned that they're no longer with us.
Mm. Yeah.
That is a perfect example of leaving a legacy. People that bring you joy, and that your only sadness is that you don't get to get more joy of what they could be bringing in the future.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I do have a question too about Lauren. Lauren,
Go ahead.
is your community a paid community or open community?
No, it's a free community. And that, really, as you were talking, Sifu, about serving, right? That was another really big thing. I think there's only so much you can do, over Instagram or LinkedIn. Every platform has its place. I really saw having a community as a place where I could serve, right? Where I go live, I do trainings every single week. And it was such a beautiful space to just, have that knowledge, give that knowledge, support, in addition to everyone really coming together and be able to connect.
Love it. Love it.
And
When we
Sifu,
can
I cut you off. You were starting.
That's okay. I don't. I like being cut off. That means that we're listening to one another. So, and that's what friends can do, right? They can say, "Hey, you know what? Quiet. I want to say something." I love that, right? Because it shows that you value me, and that I'm going to respect whatever you do, and that's the connections that are real, right? Unlike the ones that are like, "Oh, I gotta wait." No, cut me off. That means that we're connected, and I love that. So thank you for that. So one of the things, let me share something with you guys, if you don't mind, and it is definitely about communication and connection. Take a look.
In a world where words shape destinies and connections forge futures, this November 22nd to the 24th, Speaking Prowess brings you the ultimate hands-on workshop. We have a lineup of some of the most influential communication experts in the industry. These are the voices that will guide you on a journey to enhance your ability to connect, influence, and succeed. Sifu Rafael, master instructor and founder of Speaking Prowess, blends communication and leadership to help you reach your full potential. Richard Walsh brings his strategic and tactical expertise to deliver rapid, lasting results for your business. Dr. Oliver T. Reed, the international multi-best-selling author and motivational speaker, known as the Writing Coach, will help you craft your messages with precision. Jose Escobar, a nationally recognized speaker and leader, will guide you in mastering personal development and leadership skills. This is more than just an event. It's a game-changing, skill-building experience. Walk away with communication prowess that transforms your personal and professional life. Speaking Prowess, where communication becomes your superpower. Reserve your seat now.
And that's going to be an incredible event also. One of the things that is always has shaped the way I do everything is because of the connections that I can make. I mean, it's my connection with another human being, but it's my faith in my connection with God that has also allowed me to think differently. A lot of times where people, here's my take on this. Atheists also believe in something. So they have faith. They just don't have the same faith that I do or the same faith that you do. But I think everyone has faith. And it's what you put your faith in that helps shape you. But if you go around saying, I have no faith, maybe you're doing drugs, maybe you're doing all the wrong things. But when you stop doing the wrong things, then you start truly creating the faith that will guide your life. And I think communication is the best key to honing in to who you are. I'll leave it there.
We had a little discussion like that last night with Sherry Tree. Sifu and I are both trainers utilizing the bank methodology that Sherry Tree created or devised, downloaded. And it's a form of a science-based personality assessment. And we were talking about the wars right now and the Israel situations and politics and religion. And we were talking about if people were able to use a methodology like this, that if they could see that, and it was based, my saying was, I studied alternative religion. That's one of my degrees. And everybody had the same core belief of something greater. But it was about all the things around it that they argued about, how that you achieve this greater whatever. And even like you said, atheists still want greater something. It may not be of a higher power, but a greater something for themselves. Mm-hmm. And so then they argue about that doesn't exist. And then the other person says, well, I want this, and this is how you do it. And the other person says, no, I want this, and this is how you do it. And it's only how you do it is what they're arguing about. And then, and Sherry was talking about how, if each person could then look at the different personality styles of the people that they're communicating with, when there are leaders talking about faith or politics, could they then step into their emotional intelligence by respecting the other's personality type? And could we have better conversations that would de-escalate instead of escalate into war? So very interesting topic. Yeah. What do you guys, so Sophie and Lauren, Sifu and I have talked about this kind of idea of personality and how we talk to each other differently. Lauren, why don't we have you start? What are some of your thoughts on that?
It really comes back to, again, like we were talking about, knowing, the more that you know yourself, the more that you can communicate, not only what you do, but what you believe in. I mean, it really comes back to that, whether it is, the specific modality that both of you are speaking to, whether it is something like a human design, there are so many different modalities out there that just give you the keys really to unlock more of yourself. Once we know that, that's the only way, that we can clearly communicate that. When Sifu was really, beginning to talk about communication, I was really shaking my head, because it really always comes down to communication, right? Whether we're talking about something and we're going deep into a politics or religion. I mean, when we bring it back to business, right? If we talk about our messaging, our marketing, all of these different things, even when we go into sales psychology, right? The basis of all of this is communication.
Yeah. And Sophie, how about you?
So I met Cherry Tree years ago at a conference here in Nashville, and that got me into her world. She spoke at the event, and I actually was right in front of line in the ladies' room at the event. So I literally got to meet her in person, which was really cool. I mean, it was weird circumstances, but we went with it. And reintroduce it, or finding Sifu reminded me of it. I actually redid my bank code because I knew I had changed a lot in that time, and so I redid my bank code and came out with a whole different code that really reminded me of who I am for real now. As not that I wasn't real then, but I've changed and grown and learned. And one thing that is really big for me when it comes to how I communicate with people is energetics. As a witchy woman, I am very tapped into intuition. I'm a Reiki master as well. So I can read energetics. And so, the first impression is just that. It's a first impression. You have to be open to getting to know them, to understanding them through other nonverbal things as well. It's both verbal and nonverbal, body language and energetics, and the different things that you can observe while speaking to people to understand how to adapt your communication even on the spot. Because if you're in a room of strangers, they're strangers for a very short time. If you stay open to reading the room, to reading the energetics and watching the interactions and the actions going on, you can communicate more effectively and make it a better situation by tapping into all those different things when you're communicating with the people around you.
Sophie, I got to tell you, one of the things that you said, and some people may not have fully heard, because communication is listening, right? One of the things that you said is that how much you've changed. And when you redid it, your code changed. But that's because of your growth. And we're constantly growing. For me, it's daily. One of the things that people say to me, how are you doing? I go, exceptional, getting better every day. Just a little bit. It only takes a little bit. Because if I'm the same person I was yesterday, I have not grown. If I did not have a communication with another human being and they said something that helped me grow, then I'm not listening to them. Sometimes it could be a 5-year-old. They'll say something like, it's a different way to look at it, right? Because here's the beauty. When you talk to a child, they have not been subjected to the no word as much. You know good, you know this, you know that. And they're free to say whatever comes to their mind. But as adults, we put a filter on. Meanwhile, children have no filter, which is beautiful. It is crazy, incredible. I think that there was that show where it was, I don't want to say his name, but it was a guy who was out there and he did a show with the craziest things that kids say, right? And it was a very popular show at the time, and kids would say the craziest things, but it makes you think. So if you're not having a conversation where it makes you think, you're having the wrong conversations. like this one today is making me think. Thank you, ladies.
Definitely. I have a 3-year-old grandson who definitely has no filter. And, we babysit and we hang out, and the things that come out of his mouth are amazing and funny and so intelligent. He is so smart. And I'm not just saying that because he's my grandson, but for a 3-year-old, some of the things that he says, you're like, I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, wow, how did you even remotely figure that out at 3? And, it does teach you to just open up and listen, because, sometimes it's unfiltered and it's not the most pleasant thing, but it does, like you said, Sifu, it makes you stop and think and go, let me kind of process that and see what I come up with based on the conversation I'm having, even with a 3-year-old.
Yeah, that's Sophie. I love that you brought that up. I have a 3-year-old, and whenever my daughter is speaking consistently and constantly, I am thinking about perspective shifts, right? And whenever she says something like Sifu, you were saying, they haven't heard no very as often, as much. And the things that come out of her mouth, I'm consistently thinking she doesn't really understand. There is no limit. There is no upper limit, as we will, right? So when she says things, it's like, well, why can't we just do that, right? Why can't it go this area, this direction? And then it definitely allows me to say, oh, was I holding myself back? Was I playing small? Like, how can I look at this in a different, through a different lens and through a different perspective?
Well, one of the best questions that kids ask is why.
Right? And he's in that stage. Why everything? Why? And we love it. I mean, a lot of people get irritated by it, but it honestly, again, it makes you think, and it's entertaining, because sometimes they're asking why to the biggest questions and the biggest things you're talking about, and you're like, oh, well, because, and you have to stop and think, because if you're talking about something, just not, why is the sky blue? There's just why. Oh, it makes you think, and you answer. You don't just shut them down and say because, or something like that. It stirs more conversation.
I think the only time that people get really frustrated with the whys is when they reach the point where they don't know the answer.
Sometimes that is the case. Or why is too deep.
Yeah. Or they know the answer and they're like, oh, why did that? In fact, Sherry has a 4-year-old, and he had made the comment. He was like patting her belly, and she said, you were in my belly at one point. And he goes, how did I come out? And she's like, oh, why did I say that? So I made some notes. Oh, go ahead first, Sifu.
No, go for it. You're doing great.
All right. So I just was thinking of some things that came out in my head that, so I'm traveling with my business partner, Drew Sutton, and at breakfast, his daughter says to me, she's 9, she was being silly or something. And then she said something so profound. And I said, wow, you can be so fun and so silly, and look at you, you're still so profound and knowledgeable. And then yet you're so silly and fun. And she said, when you come from a line of people like I have, you never know what you're going to get. That was so funny.
That was great.
That was so funny.
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious.
And then I think about the things that where people say, like you were saying, you can't, or you shouldn't, or you wouldn't. If Demaya, my daughter, who's now a school teacher, could have done what she really wanted to do when she was little. I remember when she made the announcement, she's going to be 26 at the end of the month, but she made the announcement, I'm going to be a ballerina doctor. And I'm like, oh, so you're going to be a doctor for ballerinas? And she goes, no. I'm going to be a ballerina and a doctor. And I thought, so I would laugh all the time. So when people would have like a medical problem or something, or say like, oh, I don't feel good. And I said, oh, I think I will take your heart, listen to your heart, be the ballerina who listens. And I just all of it made me think of that. And then in thinking about all of that joy of things that kids say, the reason Sifu didn't mention the name of the person is the whole, cancel culture based on someone's actions of doing things that are negative, which we have going on right now in the world with another famous celebrity when real things are found out in the world. And it made me think of that. That show was such joy. There were other television shows. By the way, even though we're not saying that person's name because we're not giving them more energy, but let's think of any situation where we've had someone really famous who has done like movies or television shows or created products or books that gave people joy, that gave people wealth or connections or whatever that might be. And then what we didn't know was in that same moment, that person had like some kind of switch and they were this whole other person who could create such pain and destruction and hurt. And those people exist in our worlds. I know I have been in situations like that in my life, and you think that you have, coming from a background in law enforcement for being trained in, forensic science and stuff, you'd think, and profiling, you think I would have picked up those things. And yet sometimes people are so good in their disguise that you're not even aware that you're around that. And so, although that isn't necessarily a positive thing to bring up, I want to bring it up because I want people to always be on their toes. And when they question something, like a kid will question something, as adults, we say, stop, no, we second, no, it's fine. You're just imagining that. And we often tell kids that too, but maybe we should be re-listening with new ears to ourselves and to kids. If they're saying something or questioning something, why are they questioning that? Maybe they are picking up on something that's not right either.
Oh, I really felt that resonated with me so much, Dr. Andrea. My mind went to this place, kind of thinking about and processing what you just said, and really going back to this bigger concept of connection and who we are connecting with and who we are filling our environments and our circles with. I was just having a conversation with a dear friend of mine in the coaching space, and we were talking about, our personalities. And I definitely would describe myself as whether positive or negative or neutral, whatever you decide, the word like intense. A lot of people will say, Lauren, your energy is intense. Your passion is intense. When I'm up, when I'm speaking, when I'm talking and working with people. And we were talking about, sometimes I know in my life experience, when I have either worked with different people in different capacities, again, digging into who I am, almost was like, oh, was that too much? Did I ask too many questions, right? Did I put too much out there? Finally, there was a point in my life where I said, this is who I am. I want to know why. I want to know why, and I want to know details, and that's important to me. And I welcome that, right? And I know that I have surrounded my own circles with people who are just like that, right? Just like Sifu, where he said, a little bit better every single day, and surrounding yourself with those people and those environments and those connections that are filling you up and moving you forward.
Dr. Andrea, when you were talking also, it made me think I love spicy food. I love spices. But when you look at a jar, if you go to the supermarket and you look for spice, it's also well designed. And if you don't like spices and by accident you go, oh, it looks so good, I want to try it. And then you put it on your food and you're like, whoa, that was hot. People can be like that, right? They look really good, but on the inside they're really spicy, and they're gonna bite you. They're gonna bite you in a way that you don't want to be bit. The other thing I want to say is that questions, the why question really gets the deep root of any situation, because when somebody says, I want to do this, why? Well, I want to, why? So we keep asking that. One of my coaches says either 5 or 7 whys will get the truth, or at least the root of it, right? We can go deeper, and the only way to go deep is with those questions, but also listening, because a lot of times we ask a question and we're only listening for what we want to hear. not where the truth lies. So we're coming to the end of the show. This has been such a great discussion. Before we go, I'd love to give each one of you a chance to tell us how we can have our guests be found. Everybody listening, how can they find you? Sophie, we'll start first with you.
Thanks, Sifu. You can find me on my website at sophiezo.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. I have a podcast on the Word of Mom network, and I love to chat with people. There's opportunities to have coffee, connection calls on my website, and to DM me on social media. I love to connect and chat with people. So feel free to find me in those places and reach out. I'd love to meet you and connect.
Awesome. Thank you. And Lauren.
Thank you, Sifu. And Sophie, I'll definitely be connecting with you. I'm excited to talk more. Everyone can find me. I would love for you to come into my world, join the Facebook group. You can search the group on Facebook. It is called Empowered Wholeness. Again, come inside, be served, get supported. I'm also on Instagram, LinkedIn. It'll be my full name, Lauren Balterman. You can also visit my website at laurennicole.life. I would love to connect with everyone who is listening. I love hearing people's stories, understanding your why. So I look forward to connecting with you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Dr. Andrea.
Yeah. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller, www.theredcarpetconnection.com. You can reach out to me there. I have a free gifts there on the website. And also you can just reach out to me, text me now. I am a rare person who actually connects with people, and I'm very public about my number. It's 419-722-6931. Text me if you're interested in knowing more, connecting, booking me to speak, or wanting to know how your life can shift or change. Go ahead and text me, and I have a connection to over 75,000 people in my phone. So there you go.
Beautiful, beautiful. And let me tell you that you guys can definitely connect with me if you want, but most importantly, let's train together. Come and join me November 22nd through the 24th. We're having an incredible event here in New York. We're not going to teach you a thing. We're going to embed it in you. It's going to be different. It's going to be an actual hands-on experience. Because a lot of times we can watch something, we can see something, but we forget it. We don't want that. We want to change your outlook on the way you communicate. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. And once again, make it a great Friday, everybody. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.